In the news tonight, Suva suburb goes into lockdown. New health restrictions for Viti Levu. And the question everyone is asking, what variant are we facing?
From the studios of FBC Suva, Edwin Nunn.
Kulabinaka, Fiji. Another community-transmitted case of COVID-19 has been confirmed this afternoon, this time in the capital. While the previous cases have been confined to the Western Division, this new case, a 40-year-old woman, lives in Cunningham in Suva. Christiana Uluwai is live now from Cunningham. Christiana, what is the situation there?
Edwin, Cunningham is now considered the fourth containment area with this current outbreak, as now people are rushing home where they're expected to stay for at least the next 14 days. Now, this woman was believed to have traveled down and attend the funeral in Tavakumbu Lautoka with her family, and the health ministry is still trying to track down all the attendees of this funeral, as this funeral is now marked as the epicenter of this current pandemic outbreak. So if you or anyone you know attended this funeral, pick up the phone right now and dial 158 to ensure that you and your family are safe and to help the health ministry contain this virus.
Christiana, do we know if this is a new variant from the cases we've had previously?
Edwin, the virus is out there, and the health ministry says that we should act as if it's a contagious variant of the virus, as they will only be able to establish what variant of the virus this outbreak is carrying in 2 weeks' time. But until then, everyone needs to wear masks wherever they go, avoid unnecessary travel, use hand sanitizers, avoid social gatherings, practice social distancing. Practically, the COVID-19 rule book should now be activated and followed, and the health ministry says that we can revert back to normalcy if everyone follow the rule. Edwin.
Naka Christiana, the Ministry of Health has commended the family in Wainitaroau settlement in Cunningham for informing authorities that they attended the funeral in Tavakumbu Lautoka over the weekend. Permanent Secretary Dr. James Fong says the family came forward after the ministry's announcement yesterday. He says the funeral is now the epicenter of locally transmitted cases and they are treating it as a super spreader.
A 40-year-old woman of Wainitaroau settlement in Cunningham, Suva has tested positive for COVID-19, bringing the total number of cases to 4 now.
She lives at home with 6 others, her husband and 5 children. She and all members of her household are all securely in isolation in Navua Hospital. Her family members have all tested negative for the virus so far.
Dr. Fong says they activated a screening zone in the settlement.
The rules for the zone are simple. No one is allowed out. Those who live in this area are being allowed back in, but they must stay there. We are screening every Fijian in that zone and will keep that area contained for at least 14 days.
Dr. Fong says this is not the only family who came forward after the announcement yesterday. They have also identified the drivers of the minibus and the taxi driver whom the ministry had been searching for. He says these drivers are now in quarantine. Pranita Prakash, FBC News.
New health restrictions have been announced for Viti Levu and other parts of the country. Permanent Secretary for Health Dr. James Fong says from tomorrow only funeral gatherings will be allowed but limited to 20 people or less. Josiah Nanunga reports.
Nationwide non-work social gatherings will be restricted from tomorrow for at least the next 14 days.
Non-work gatherings of any size cannot take place anywhere. That includes religious services, weddings and other events. This gathering restriction applies nationwide.
Dr. Fong says gyms, movie theatres, video gaming shops, bars or amusement arcades must be closed and restaurants must not offer in-person dining. This is only be applied within Viti Levu.
If someone does not have a smartphone, their contact tracing details must be recorded every day. Customer-facing businesses should limit customer capacity to 50%. Businesses that do not manage these risks with COVID-safe plans will be shut down. The virus is here. We cannot afford to turn a crowded market into the next center of an epicenter.
He says all supermarkets, banks, pharmacies, FNPF and other essential service providers will continue and must limit the number of customers to at least 50%, and customers must maintain 2 meters distance. Josiah Nanunga, FBC News.
And we now join Josiah Nanunga live. Josiah, what are the travel restrictions that have been announced?
Edwin, all outbound inter-island passenger travel will be suspended from midday tomorrow. This has been confirmed by the Health Ministry as part of its safety measures to contain the spread of COVID-19. The Health Ministry confirms that all outbound freight services will be maintained, and the good news for Fijians in maritime islands as they still can travel or come into Viti Levu. As for flights, Edwin, Dr. Fong highlighted that all domestic flights out of Viti Levu have been suspended.
Josiah, are there any restrictions on physical activities?
Edwin, the Health Ministry has reiterated that no contact sports must be played. However, family members can continue with their outdoor exercise. Still, people need to practice and exercise the 2 meters distance, and the Care Fiji app must be activated on their respective mobile phones. The top brass of the Health Ministry is once again urging and reminding Fijians not to panic, as this will deter their approach in trying to contain the spread of COVID-19. Edwin.
Naka Josiah, there is no confirmation yet on whether locally transmitted cases of COVID-19 are a new variant. Permanent Secretary Dr. James Fong says this information will be confirmed in due time. With one new case emerging daily this week, the Health Ministry is waiting to see which variant we are dealing with.
Whether this is a new or more contagious variant of the virus, but we should act as if it is a contagious variant. As I said yesterday, we have to start treating everyone outside our household as if they are positive for the virus until it is proven otherwise.
Around the world, new variants have emerged, including India, where many travelers are arriving from. Head of Health Protection, Dr. Alisha Saukhan, says samples are being sent to Australia for testing and results should be available in about 2 weeks.
So in order to determine which variant this virus is, we have to send our samples to our reference lab in Melbourne, Australia. So we would expect that it will go out this week, and then we should receive a result within the next week or two.
As of now, there are 4 cases of community transmissions in Fiji. Up ahead, resort worker had contact tracing app disabled, and child's note found in alleged murder case. Welcome back. Implementation of the new COVID-19 protocols were evident around Nandi today. Since yesterday, there have been more people wearing masks and using hand sanitizers while in public areas. Felipe Naikaso has more.
The public and businesses are paying stricter attention to the COVID protocols around Nandi following the continuous call by the relevant authorities to follow all the precautions.
It was a good idea to have the lockdown because it was to ensure that other people didn't get affected by the virus in other parts of Fiji.
Yesterday, a few supermarkets were not adhering to some of the restrictions. However, this morning, all of that changed. A few businesses have set up registration for people entering the shops. This is especially for people who do not have the Care Fiji app. The Nandi market didn't see its usual hustle and bustle since many people decided to restrict their movements.
Only vendors are here, but no buyers are here. Because people are not going to work, and so who's going to come and buy?
Strict measures are being put at borders, and just like the one here at Momi, only essential vehicles or essential services are allowed inside and outside, but first they will have to go through a thorough fumigation process.
A good idea, but at least the people can have their jobs too, because employment.
At least people, they're getting everything provided.
Businesses around Nandi are also planning to implement even stricter COVID-19 measures to ensure the safety of the public. Felipe Naikaso, FBC News.
And Felipe Naikaso is live now. Felipe, you've been out and about today. What behavioral changes have you noticed in Fijians?
Edwin, there's definitely been some more changes in Nandi as more and more Fijians have been wearing masks, using hand sanitizers and practicing social distancing while they're out and about in public. Businesses have been very strict on their protocols, especially when customers of Fijians come around. They check their Fiji Care app is on, and if they don't have any masks on, they are also not allowing them into these areas. And Edwin, just a while ago, around the Namaka area, the police officers were driving around and using their hailers to tell people that they needed to wear masks and also to practice social distancing, especially when Fijians were out and about at the supermarkets. And Edwin, this is important, especially with a call made by Dr. James Fong earlier today, the need to wear masks and follow the COVID protocols when we are out in public.
Naka Felipe, the Fiji Times headline, "Vaccines do not protect you from getting the virus," has been called out as a reckless publication that may have deadly consequences. The Permanent Secretary for Health has blasted the Fiji Times for the irresponsible headline, saying many Fijians will be swayed by it without ever reading the article. Kritika Kumar reports that at least one Fijian family has come forward tonight, saying older members of the same family are now adamant they absolutely will not get vaccinated after being influenced by the Fiji Times headline.
The Health Ministry is frustrated that while it works extremely hard to disseminate correct life-saving information, the country's oldest newspaper is misleading the public.
The Fiji Times published a troubling headline on your Facebook page saying, "Vaccines do not protect you from the virus." The headline was wrong.
FBC News contacted Fiji Times owner and Motibhai director Rajesh Patel, who directed all the questions to the newspaper editor-in-chief Fred Wesley, saying it's an editorial issue. Fred Wesley says the headline was taken off Dr. Fong's comments, but also admits that the readers who did not read the Fiji Times article may have wrongly interpreted the headline. In the meantime, a Suva family that doesn't want to be identified says some family members have decided not to get vaccinated.
After that Fiji Times article came out, now they're more adamant than ever that they're not going to get the vaccines. And I think that that doesn't only affect them, but also affects the decisions of other Fijians as well.
Dr. Fong says misleading information about the COVID-19 vaccine can scare more Fijians away, which will have severe consequences. Kritika Kumar, FBC News.
Meanwhile, today again, Dr. James Fong criticized the Fiji Times for publishing a story without official sanction.
Media outlets bypassing our official sources, publishing stories without the proper context, sparking panic among the public. This sort of reckless reporting can set us back with the entire containment strategy.
The resort worker who tested positive for COVID-19 did not have her Care Fiji app turned on. Authorities are urging all Fijians to download and activate the app to ensure contact tracing options are available for anyone who may come into contact with persons exposed to COVID-19. The 53-year-old maid, while exposed to COVID-19, traveled between Lautoka and Nandi without the Care Fiji app activated.
If she had her Care Fiji app on while she was moving up and down the corridor, we would have actually known who all the phones that she was close proximity with, and we would have been informing those people with the other phones, hey, there was a person who was in close proximity to you.
Dr. Fong reveals the Bluetooth feature on her smartphone had been turned off. He says it's critical that all Fijians download and use the app.
And we would have had a list generated already, and we would be out there trying to look for people.
No, I haven't, just because I'm not aware.
I didn't think it was appropriate for me to download it. I'm always staying at home.
It's important because if anyone is around me have COVID, because I'm ready.
For those at the funeral in Tavakumbu, authorities had to rely on second-hand information.
From the amount of food that they gave out, the food packs, we were able to calculate from there how many people. And now we are relying on them saying, I was there. Call 158.
The Care Fiji app has been available for download since May last year. A handwritten note that read, "Daddy has poisoned Mummy," was discovered by a former United Nations Regional Security Advisor on the day Henry Kiala Lusaka is alleged to have murdered his wife. Lusaka is on trial charged with murder in the death of his wife Jennifer Downs at their rented home on Service Street in Suva on July 23, 2019. Kelly Vadala reports.
Former UN Regional Security Advisor Charles O'Hanlon testified Lusaka was highly agitated, aggressive and alert when they approached the residence that day. O'Hanlon told court that Lusaka did not open the door even after several warnings. When asked about the whereabouts of Downs, Lusaka, who was holding a knife and bottle of whiskey, replied that she was busy and could not come to the door. It was heard in court that there was no hope accessing the house by other means, as all windows and doors were securely locked. O'Hanlon testified that officers were able to get inside with the help of the eldest child, who handed him a bunch of keys after Lusaka ran down the hallway and hid in his bedroom. The former UN security advisor said he feared for the children as they looked frightened. He also told the court that they forced their way into the bedroom and found Jennifer Downs lying on the floor unresponsive. He said the bedroom looked disturbed as clothes were scattered everywhere as if there had been a fight. The trial continues in the High Court tomorrow. Kelly Vadala, FBC News.
Still to come, Derek Chauvin convicted of murdering George Floyd. And later in sports, trainer becomes player.
Fiji Airways has been certified with a 5-star COVID-19 airline safety rating. It is now one of only 6 airlines worldwide to achieve this top recognition. The Skytrax COVID-19 airline safety accreditation is regarded as a global benchmark for evaluating COVID-19 safe travel. The safety audit was conducted in March and April when the airline was operating repatriation flights to Auckland, Sydney, Los Angeles and Hong Kong. Airline Chief Executive Andre Filion says to receive this recognition speaks volumes about their unrelenting commitment to the health and medical safety of their customers and staff. He adds Skytrax's rigorous assessment system evaluated over 190 protocols put in place for COVID safety by the airline. A one-off COVID-19 relief payment for Fiji National Provident Fund members impacted by lockdown restrictions in the Western Division will be available on Monday. Acting Chief Executive Viliame Vondanaivalu says this will be a one-off payment of $220, given that the containment period is 14 days. Members who live and work in the containment area where their workplace has closed for the lockdown period will be eligible. However, members in the containment area currently assessing phases 2 and 3 of COVID-19 relief will not be eligible for this one-off payment. The period for the one-off lockdown payment closes on May 3rd. The Fijian Competition and Consumer Commission has started market surveillance on food and medicine, as well as monitoring the market situation in the Western Division. Chief Executive Joel Abraham is urging traders to keep products available as the Commission works with importers, wholesalers and retailers to get products onto shelves quickly. Abraham has revealed there have been some spikes in the price of face masks. He has reminded traders to not engage in unscrupulous activities and unfairly raise the prices of essential products.
Some pharmacies that have spiked or raised the prices of face masks as high as close to $100 a box. These pharmacies have been put under active investigation. Our teams are out not only in the Central Division but in the Western and Northern Division. We are going to supermarkets and pharmacies.
Here are the local exchange rates as set early this morning. Our Fiji dollar showed a gain against the currencies of our two major trading partners, the Aussie and Kiwi dollars, but slipped slightly against the PNG kina and the international currencies we cover. Prices were mixed on the commodities market. Oil prices dropped nearly $2 to close just above $62 a barrel. Gold rose a few dollars to $1,777 per ounce, and silver closed down at $25.80 per ounce. And now Sharon from HFC Bank joins us with a look at the world's money markets and says the Australians have received a bit of good news.
Traders had been awaiting today's Aussie retail sales data, and on release it showed March retail sales surpassed expectations as soaring housing prices boosted consumer confidence. Meanwhile, the reopening of state borders allowed cashed-up households to spend lavishly on travel again. Overall, sales rose 1.4% from February, outpacing market forecast of 1%. Looking globally at the greenback, the US dollar extended its slide early today to reach fresh monthly lows against most major rivals, but turned upward again during morning trading in Europe. The stocks on Wall Street were sharply down as pandemic developments triggered investor caution. And that's all from your HFC Bank for now. Take care and stay safe.
In growing Fiji tonight, now a lot of villages in Tailevu are working on building their village seawall. Village Development Committee Chair Sitiveni Tavanga says they've prepared a proposal and have the relevant documents ready. Tavanga says the men in the village are ready to begin work as they've started collecting limestones from the next village. He says they will also welcome the assistance from various organizations to help construct the seawall.
We have started building the village seawall. It is our own initiative, and this is the step the village has taken while waiting for assistance from other agencies.
That is the latest from my end, but coming up after the break, businesses monitored for price gouging. Stay with us.
Welcome back. Many farmers in Vero village on Overlau have changed their farming techniques to cushion the impact of climate change and the rising sea level. Village elder Tomasi Lakemba says the quality of their crops has dropped in recent years. He says the soil on their farmland close to the seashore has turned saline. Lakemba adds some villages are farming on land at a much higher altitude.
The productivity of our agricultural product has dropped as saltwater slowly intrudes farmlands along the coast. I think our location has made us susceptible to the impacts of sea level rise, which is taking its toll in our low-lying islands.
Many former rugby reps return to Fiji after their career and contribute to the development of the sport back home. One such former rep is Naselesele Tavyuni native Viliame Maya, who returned home to start his farming business and is now helping develop rugby on the island. Eleanor Turangai View with this report.
Former National Sevens rep Viliame Maya is now a familiar face at rugby events at his home island Tavyuni.
I'm with Naselesele Rugby and we in the Wainikeli Sub-Union, coming from the Conroe Rugby Union. We are trying to make Tavyuni a union by itself.
Maya had spent almost 15 years playing in France before returning to Tavyuni, where there is now a huge following in Sevens rugby.
I've been here for over 2 years now and I'm surprised to be in some rugby tournaments here, that there is a lot of interest in 15s rugby.
Maya is working on developing 15s rugby on the island while getting his World Rugby accredited rugby coaching certificate.
I know it will take time, I know it will take a lot of effort, but we are working towards that. We will get there.
Achieving this will be a milestone accomplishment for Maya as he begins his coaching journey to give back to his island where rugby began for him. Eleanor Turangai View, FBC News.
The Fijian Commerce and Competition Commission will be on the ground over the next 14 days monitoring sales during the heightened COVID-19 situation. FBC News Tonight speaks with FCCC Chief Executive Joel Abraham. Mr. Abraham, your teams are conducting market surveillance in the Western Division. What are they looking for?
Because of the spike in buying from some people, there has been some shortages in terms of bringing items from the bulk to the shelf. However, there is no actual shortage of food that is being experienced. We are working with authorities, especially around Lotoka and Nendi, to ensure the flow of cargo to and from Suva into Nendi or through major distributors. So my message to the Fijian people is please don't listen to rumors.
Through their operations, what have your teams found so far?
We are going to supermarkets and pharmacies and traders that are selling face masks to ensure that nobody goes through this situation and tries to profiteer of the vulnerability of Fijian people.
What's your message to traders?
I want to tell these traders who are going to engage in such unethical practices or are thinking of engaging in such unethical practices, we will take you to task. In the most recent weeks, we've taken more than 5 traders to court and have received successful fines.
And Jamie is here with tonight's sports report.
Like Edwin, and good evening. Ahead in sports. No games, no problem for now. And Schoolboys Tour in doubt. This and more coming up. Parents of Ngau secondary school students are heartbroken with the cancellation of the Coca-Cola Games. Most maritime schools had already traveled to Suva ahead of time, but with the games now cancelled and with COVID restrictions, they will have to stay a little longer in the city. Venina Rakautonga reports.
Weeks of budgeting and planning has now gone to waste for these parents.
We had arrived last week and this is all to support our kids. Money has been put aside for this. Sacrifices made just to be here for our kids.
Despite the challenges faced, Ngau Secondary School is determined to return when the new dates for the Coca-Cola Games is confirmed.
As much as we want to be upset and not send our kids to the Coca-Cola Games, we know that this is an opportunity for our children to not only compete but come out from the islands to enjoy the city, and compete is something big. We will do it for them.
Teacher Waisiama Taitonga says around $5,000 was used for logistics.
We have used a lot in bringing the athletes to Suva. However, we receive a lot of help from the Ngau community in Fiji and abroad, which is funding for us during our extra 1-week stay. We are just budgeting now.
These athletes will have to stay on the mainland for the next 14 days as inter-island travel from Viti Levu will be suspended from midday tomorrow. Venina Rakautonga, FBC Sports.
Some young players will be introduced to the Fiji National Rugby League Development Pathway. FNRL is amazed with the new talent uncovered at the Fiji Secondary School's Vodafone Trophy competition this year. However, as Aquila Dharma reports, a junior Mbati tour this year looks highly unlikely.
The FSSRL had plans to have a Schoolboys Tour after every 2 years.
And this year had been earmarked for the tour. There's still plans in the background, and we're currently discussing on whether or not we still can have that tour this year, given it's a World Cup year.
The FNRL had not ruled out the possibility of having an overseas team come over.
If there is an appetite for an overseas team touring into Fiji, that tour is currently, just plans at the moment.
Giving these exciting players some recognition after a grueling season will be quite a reward.
And if you look at our KB6, I think the oldest players in our KB6 is about 26 or 27 years old. The rest are all 2019. So I think that's the right way for us to go to, because a lot of NRL players are like they want young players.
The more players that can be identified and introduced to the professional rugby league system, the better for FNRL, as they'll have a bigger pool of players to select from in the 2025 World Cup. Aquila Dharma, FBC Sports.
Parental support has been the driving force for National 7 squad members Sireli Mangala and Chiuta Wainingolo. Both players joined the squad last year, hoping to one day don the national colours on the international stage. Tali Materkula reports.
Sireli Mangala's rugby journey is rooted in his parents' support.
They both way back in level, and for me, everything I've asked them to prepare for me, they always prepare. Ask them to come and watch me during my games. They always come right from Bunati.
The endless advice from his dad steers him to the direction to take.
both my parents and especially my father usually call me every morning, talk to me about what to do and what to follow.
Being away from family is also one of their major challenge.
Every Monday, like 1 week camp, so and from few weeks we'll be missing our family, going to quarantine and 2 months away from our family. So that's the only challenge facing right now.
Both players have donned the national jumper in a number of local tournaments so far and have proven just why they need to be named in the final Tokyo Olympic squad. Talima Terpula, FBC Sports.
Usually behind the scenes for the Fiji rugby teams, Apisa Ndevo has switched from being a trainer to a player. Ndevo is currently the strength and conditioning coach and an understudy to Olympic gold medal winning team trainer Nathaniel Mbuka. As Caroline Itavi reports, Ndevo debuted for the Suva development team against Rewa last Saturday.
The fitness level of rugby players inspired Apisa Ndevo to become a trainer.
I grew up, I really loved to train. That was my passion. I really watch YouTube videos, watch how they train. It really motivated me to become a trainer.
Ndevo has rubbed shoulders with many local and international players, but this time the Naitasiri native got to feel what these players go through on the field.
So I've been giving the boys training program. So whenever I ask them, they say, oh, it's good, but currently Fijian boys, they don't tell you the full truth. They'll just say yes, yes, or no, no. So what encouraged me, I wanted to feel exactly what I was giving them. That is help transfer to rugby.
Suva coach Sakaraya Lambalamba says he has a set of young players like Ndevo to select from for the main team.
We build on our younger forwards that are coming in.
Suva is set to host the Anandi in the next round of the Skipper Cup competition. Carlini Tavi, FBC Sports.
World Football Governing Body FIFA says clubs involved in the Breakaway Super League must face consequences. But a lawyer believes there may be little that can be done to stop the new league. In today's play of the day, Tomasi Nainduki's try in the 61st minute, compliments of a break by Joshua Yavala that gave Naitasiri the much-needed edge to dethrone Fairbrother champions Nandi 22-15 in a thriller at Prince Charles Park last Saturday. Check it out.
Matai is the link. Pop that well. Naitasiri, they take it up. Good clean out from Matai. Minimbi gets it out. Here's Naitasiri. Joshua Yavala. Wonderful run. Links in field. And Naitasiri. Tomasi Nainduki was denied a couple of minutes ago. Naitasiri fans lift the roof of Prince Charles Park.
That's it from Sports Tonight. Angie joins you next with weather, and in Weird and Wonderful, a man risks his life to save a child from a speeding train. This and more coming up.
Buenasia and welcome to the weather world. What a wonderful day, full on sunshine. For those looking out to the weekend, it will come in around 2 days. Exciting times, but stay indoors if you have to. Now moving on to the west, it had amazing spells. It stayed like that throughout. Temperatures fluctuated a bit, but stood out among the other areas. Eastwards from Peck Harbour to Suva, solid sunshine, a bright day. This is probably what everyone looks out for because there is more love for sunshine. And moving further to the north, another good day, but the night will see few showers. So if you have your goodies out sun drying, pull them in. The places we will be checking out today is Peck Harbour, Raki Raki, and the hidden paradise of Fiji, Savu Savu. Peck Harbour and Savu Savu had similar temperatures, even though Savu Savu felt like 35 degrees. Raki Raki, on the other hand, felt like 37 degrees because of high humidity at 80%. This is Billy, and his reaction tells us how humid it was. At sea, southeast winds 15 to 20 knots, moderate seas. Now turning to the tides, high waters at 2:11 a.m. with low waters at 7:59 a.m. Sunrise at 6:21. For tomorrow, rain surrounds us, which is a bit of a hassle for our commuters. The entire country will see showers. And looking further on to Friday, the best day, rain will still be in the picture. Now on to our shot of the day. Dolavina to all in Singatoka. This beautiful shot is from there too, a mother pig and her piglet taking a stroll. Remember to send us pictures, send it with a small description to our FBC News Facebook page. That's all from the Weather World after Fijian Pulse. This is a scene we normally see in movies, but this actually happened. Stay tuned with Edwin.
Thanks, Angie. In Fijian Pulse tonight, we ask, should all Fijians resort to wearing masks until further notice?
Because to protect us from the virus.
No, because either verbally or physically that the sickness will still spread.
People should wear masks now because people they don't take it seriously about this COVID-19.
I think we should wear masks to prevent COVID-19. Thank you.
And recapping our main stories, Suva suburb goes into lockdown, new health restrictions in place for Viti Levu, and no confirmation on what variant of COVID-19 Fiji is facing. For these stories and others, tune in to our sister radio station Gold FM. To our poll question, this week we are asking, have you downloaded the Care Fiji app? Visit our FBC News website to answer. You can send us newsworthy pictures and videos. Email fbcnews@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via our various social media accounts, including Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. You can also download our FBC app to keep updated with the very latest in news and sports and listen to our 6 radio stations live. That's your news this evening. I'll see you again tomorrow. Until then, stay safe. Modemanda.